Hey, what's up everybody? It's me, Amelia Lady B. Welcome back to my channel, Millennial and Menopause, and to another episode of Moments in Menopause. If it's your first time visiting, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Click on the notification bell so that you'll know the next time I post another video. Okay, so today is it's a much needed topic, I think, for women who are dealing with surgical induced menopause, also women who are dealing with infertility as well, women who have even suffered from miscarriages and things like that. This is stuff that most of us would not necessarily feel comfortable with talking about and sharing, but I feel like since I'm on this journey and I share a lot of information about myself, I share a lot of information, helpful tools and coping mechanisms, coping skills to get through surgical induced menopause, as well as endometriosis and other reproductive health issues. But I give that kind of information, and I want to just share. I want to be candid, I want to be transparent, and really discuss and share some of the things that we actually are going through during this season and time in our lives. So I'm going to be talking about I guess you can say things that we go through that we don't want to talk about. Kind of said that already, but that's pretty much what this is. I haven't even thought of a title for this this video, but whatever the title is, you got here because of it. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope that if you are dealing with if you are going through a reproductive health challenge, if you know someone who is, I would highly recommend you to share this video. And also you can leave a comment. If you don't want to leave a comment, you can definitely head over to my Instagram, Millennial and Menopause, and you can DM me if you want to keep it private. That's fine with me as well. I have a lot of people who DM me private messages, and I have no problem with that. So I'm just gonna go right ahead and get into this video, and I hope you enjoy. So those of you who have been following me for some time, you already know a little bit about my journey with endometriosis leading up to me being in surgical induced menopause, because I had a radical hysterectomy 4 years ago. And so what that is, when I had a radical hysterectomy, it was the removal of my uterus along with my ovaries. So I am unable to have biological children. And believe it or not, there's quite a few young women who are dealing with the same thing that I am dealing with. A lot of women have. There are a lot of women, other besides myself, who are managing their life with surgical menopause. There are women, I said prior to, in my introduction, I talked about women who are having miscarriages, women who have miscarriages and who are also dealing with infertility. They're dealing with, they may have endo, they may have PCOS, they may have fibroids, they may even have cancer or some other types of issues going on with ovaries, which makes it difficult for them to conceive. It makes them difficult to carry. So they may get pregnant, but then they may lose the baby due to something going on in the woman's body. So there could be a plethora of things happening to the reason why a woman cannot have children. With surgical menopause, many of us, there are those of us who chose to have the radical hysterectomy because we were either told it would help to alleviate the pain, it could reduce the the spread or for endometriosis to come back. So it was one of those things where it was a decision where, okay, I'll go ahead and have it. It could be life threatening. In my case, it was kind of life threatening. My quality of life would not have been good had I not had it, because I would have continued to have surgeries, and the endo had gotten really bad where it was attached to other organs in my body. So quality of life. So you do have women who have the radical hysterectomy and they're okay. You have those who've already had their children, who have already had children, and they're okay. You have women who have already had children but not okay, because yes, they want to have more children. They maybe only have one child, but they want to have more. You have women like myself who has never had children, and so which made it very difficult to agree. But then, your quality of life, again, is back to your quality of life. And so it was a difficult process. It's a difficult process for us, because on the one hand, you may not have the pain, heavy bleeding anymore, but then on the other hand, it's that sacrifice of you becoming the biological mom that you have always envisioned that you'd be since you were a child. Because that's kind of how we grow up. We grow up thinking, oh, I'm going to grow up, get married, have kids, or however you want to do it, or even thinking about doing in vitro or freezing your eggs, and you're still unable to do so because maybe your eggs are not viable at the time before it was time for you to have your hysterectomy. So many different things. But there's so much that happens to our bodies when we're going through surgical menopause, because our bodies are in complete shock, losing the hormones that the ovaries provide. So loss of estrogen, one of the main things, loss of estrogen. And so we're just thrown into something very unfamiliar to us. It's not necessarily like going through the change where it's a gradual process of going into menopause. It's literally your body just going into like a shock, and you're in full-blown menopause the moment your surgery. You wake up, you might experience hot flashes immediately. It may not happen until weeks after post-surgery, but you definitely begin to see the symptoms, and it's a lot of other symptoms along with it, such as anxiety. I know that when I was in hospital, one thing I didn't realize it at first, to be honest. I did not realize that was a symptom of menopause. I had no clue. Not until about maybe 3 weeks ago, I got a DM from two individuals who asked me about anxiety. And it wasn't until they asked me the question when I connected the dots, and I said, oh my gosh, yes. And so I had to Google it, and boom, there it was. So this is not something that doctors sit down and tell you every symptom that you're going to experience when you go into surgical menopause after you have your hysterectomy. Would this be information that you would want to know? Most definitely. Because it'll at least prepare you, and you won't feel like you're going crazy. Because there are times where I feel like, am I bipolar? Do I need to be diagnosed? Do I need to be on somebody's medication? Because 1 minute you're fine, and the next minute you feel like heaviness over you, like doom, a sense of doom, like death, like you're gonna die, something bad's gonna happen, and it's just such anxiety, and it really and then you kind of begin to shut down, and it's crazy. And then on top of that, can induce a mood swing. So that'd be like, I just want to be alone, don't talk to me. And it could happen for me. It happens at work. I have to bring myself back, like, come on, get it together. I do have one of my best friends works with me, and so she always checks on me. She's like, Amelia, you okay? Like when she sees that I'm like in a weird place, like she kind of knows the difference between me being in the zone at work, like getting my stuff together, getting my notes, typing my notes and stuff, versus the Amelia that's like, something's not right, let me check on my friend type thing. So that's a good thing. But these are the things that aren't really communicated to us when we are going through the process or being asked we need to have a hysterectomy. It's more like, you need to have a hysterectomy, let's schedule your surgery now. It's not, these are what you could experience. Because, I mean, to be honest with you, all I knew about menopause was hot flashes. That's all I knew. And I think I knew about bone loss, osteoporosis and stuff. So it's like, I knew I had to get me some vitamins, and that's what I did. I got extra calcium, vitamin D, and that's it. And I'm like, that's it. Nothing was communicated about insomnia, weight gain, the anxiety slash doom, the constant crying at points, feelings of anger. It's like a whole lot of emotional roller coaster ride. It's a roller coaster ride of emotions. So you could be okay, and then you could just burst out into tears, get angry all of a sudden because of what's happening or what has happened to you, why you, all of that. And so the thing about it is, and I don't think that doctors really understand either, is that for those of us who have suffered for so many years in pain, hence, like, for instance, endo, with me, endo, and so it plays an emotional toll on you anyway, because you're still in that state of, during that time you're in that state of, why is this happening to me? My body is like fighting against me. And before diagnosis, you don't know what's happening to you. Then you finally get a diagnosis years later. More than likely, you've probably seen like 4 or 5 doctors. Finally get a diagnosis, but still, you're like, okay, I have endo, but now what? I'm still going through the pain. I had a surgery, still going through the pain. It's coming back. You keep going through that whole flip-flop thing, and it's bringing on even more emotion. And so that emotion on top of, hey, you need to have a hysterectomy, boom, have it, your life changes. Like, you're getting to know a whole nother you. Now, you may not be in physical pain, right? So you may, endo doesn't come back. It's like you're just praying it doesn't come back, because it is not a cure for endo, but you're just really hoping that it doesn't come back. And then, but you're now into the emotional side of everything, as well as the physical aspect of stuff. I gained a lot of weight. That I'm trying to lose now. I'm well on my way. I'm not trying to really drop down back to the size that I was, but I'm really trying to get to a healthy weight. You have decisions about hormone therapy. Am I going to do hormone therapy? You're doing your research on that. I'm not currently on hormone therapy. I don't want to do like the regular HRT, which is the synthetic drug. I am looking into doing BHRT, which is bioidentical hormone replacement. Okay, so that's a more natural. I did not know about this window of when you should be taking hormones. So I had other medical issues along with when I had my hysterectomy, which is why my doctor did not start me on hormone therapy to begin with. So I had a DVT in my leg when I woke up from surgery. So I have been on a blood thinner, anticoagulant, for 3 years. And he did not want me to be on the hormones because they can actually, I don't want to say create blood clots, but that's a side effect. So he didn't want me to do that. So after I came off of the anticoagulant, June of this year, he did talk to me about hormone replacement, but he wanted to wait a while before doing it. So I haven't scheduled my appointment yet. I am going to schedule my appointment after the holidays to discuss with him what I would like to do. I don't think he's a provider for bioidentical. So because bioidentical is not something that is just prescribed, it is like created just for you. It's kind of created just for you. I'm going to do a whole video on that as far as my decision and everything, but that's not what this is about. But I kind of wanted to give you an idea of where I'm at. So that's where I'm at. And so that's pretty much all they want to like talk to you about is like hormone replacement therapy, but not symptoms and how I could, manage them and stuff. So I kind of been dealing with it on my own for the past 4 years. I do have a therapist. So I started going to therapy, I want to say it was February of this year. I think it was February of this year. So you would, like, I think it really is because when I first met her, I said it was because I have a master's in mental health counseling, and so I thought I could therapy myself. I can't therapy myself. So I started going to therapy because I needed to, because I found myself dipping into a depression. And that is something that will happen to a woman, most definitely, especially if she is or was looking to have children, trying to have children, a woman who has had miscarriages. Most definitely, depression is most definitely one of those things that you will more than likely slip into. I'm so proud of Gabrielle Union, who publicly started discussing her miscarriages and her issues with infertility and things that she was going through. I commend her on that. I also commend Tia Mari Hardrick on talking about her battling with endometriosis, and also leading up to her pregnancy with her daughter and having her daughter. Those of us in surgical induced menopause don't really have that option unless you were able to freeze your eggs ahead of time and you could have a surrogate and things like that. A lot of times, most of the time for us, it's almost like a immediate, like you have to, it's like almost like an emergency surgery, or like you really have to hurry up and get this done because, and especially if the endo was really bad. In such a case as mine, I had stage 4 and it was really attaching itself to a lot of my organs, and so my ovaries weren't even viable for me to get my eggs ahead of time to preserve. So I couldn't do that. So I got my therapist because I found myself drifting or getting into that sense of depression, and I didn't like that space in the place that I was at. I didn't like that, what it was doing to me, and how I was physically feeling. I would come home from work, not want to eat, just get into bed, and I just start my day all over again. And I didn't really talk about it either because, one, I didn't feel like anybody could understand. And even though you have friends, but they don't understand, they don't get it, and so tired of hearing people say, oh, but you can adopt and all that. Tired of watching the news, hearing people killing their children or things happening to kids, and that takes you in a whole nother headspace. I've cried many of times. Watching the news, listening to stories about kids. I knew it was time for me to get a therapist, and so I did. I recommend it highly for women like us, because you need someone to help you talk through everything that you're going through, and also to validate your feelings as you're processing them, but not just validating them, but assisting in your growth to move past that depression to becoming more functional and accepting where you are, but yet how now do you move forward? So I set some things in place for myself. I set some boundaries, you could say, in place for myself, because at one point it was very difficult for me. It was very difficult for me to be around children. It's not like, oh, you about to kidnap somebody's kids. It's not that at all. It's the feeling of, I'm not gonna have that biologically, you know. And I remember saying it to someone one time, and they were like, but you can, that's not the end result. That's not the end result. It was just a little bit too soon. It really is not the end result. Gabrielle Union said it best. She said there are many paths to motherhood. I cried like a baby. But it's so true. There are many paths to motherhood, you know. It's what options are there for you. But it wasn't time for that. It wasn't the time for that. It was way too soon. So I couldn't watch certain movies. Without crying. I couldn't. I had an incident in the store. God. Started crying in the middle of the store. Because I was with somebody. So. And so I had to set boundaries for myself for a while. Knowing what those boundaries were. Putting them into place. Some people won't, I guess, admit or even, because you almost kind of feel like you're a bad person for setting certain boundaries, but you have to protect you emotionally. So I'll tell you a couple of boundaries. So I don't go to baby showers. I don't. I have been invited, but I don't go. I don't. So I'll decline it. I don't go. I can't shop for children's clothing, like babies and things. So I can't do that. If anything, it'd be more like a gift card, and I can mail it or something like that. I've come to that. I can do that. But I will not do that to myself at all. Any form of something that may even remotely look like a baby shower, I cannot attend. I immediately become emotional. And so that's something that I discussed with my therapist, and she said that it was okay. It's something that's normal. A normal feeling. I used to not be able to see pregnant women. Oh my gosh. And I thought I was absolutely like psycho, but I'm not. But it's emotional. It's emotional. It really is emotional. But I used to not be able to see pregnant women. Okay, so but I most definitely I can't I can't. I can't go to baby showers. Now, here's what's tricky, but yet I have now become able to, I won't say master it, but get myself ready. Some have not. Some have, but it comes at random moments. Okay. Babies are everywhere. Pregnant women are everywhere. Point blank. Everywhere you go. It's like I have to prep myself to say, you're going out. You may see some children. You may see some really cute little bundles of joy. And you may see pregnant women. And how are you gonna, you gotta get it together now. You gotta get it together. So there'll be times I'm completely fine. Completely. So it's almost like it depends on what's happening, I guess what's happening in my life, or what have I been thinking about, what have I been I guess maybe discussing, or just what I'm feeling at the moment. Like if I'm in one of my moods, it all depends on the reaction that I give. And meaning like crying or something, not like yelling or anything irate like that. It's mostly emotional, feeling inward. Then you're turning in and you're feeling emotional and start crying and like, oh my gosh. And you're having that moment, and it can happen literally anywhere. And so another boundary that I set is it's like I'm really hard. I don't want to say it, but I have to say it. So on Facebook gives you the option of hiding posts or unfollowing hiding and unfollowing. I do both. I know people are like, well, why don't you just unfriend them? Because I could be okay at one point in life. Like I might be okay and I'll follow you back and I'll be able to now handle your bundle of joy. Right now I cannot. So I'm unfollowing you because I can't see your bundle of joy. Am I happy for you? From the bottom of my heart, I am. But I can't see your bundle of joy. Right? So I'll hide when people post. And I hide. I mean, regardless, whoever it is, hide them. I don't care if it's a family member. It's the same. Hide, unfollow. I do the same thing. I do it. People, I will never forget this time. It was right after, it was about, I'm going to say a year. It had to have been like a year or so after my hysterectomy. And I guess one of my cousins had a baby. Him and his wife had a baby. So, my aunt comes over and she's like, oh my gosh, did you see he had a baby? Look at the picture. And I just was looking straight ahead. I could not look at the picture. And I got up and walked away. I don't blame people. I don't, or anything, because to be honest, people don't really get it. If you've never been in that type of situation, you don't understand. It's almost like, it's just like substance abuse. Someone who just came out of substance abuse. Now, if I don't know you, and again, if I don't know you, sometimes even I may have known you, but you just forget. And so let's say you have a party and there's liquor, right? You forget, or you just don't know, right? And this person gets offended, gets emotional, and just has to walk away. Same thing. I'm not saying that everybody around me has to be completely, don't talk about kids, don't talk about this. I work in social services. Go figure, okay? We young adults who have kids all the time. Okay? I have to, it's between talking to myself, encouraging myself, and helping myself through each day, each moment. And it's working through it and getting through it and following up with my therapist and telling her, listen, this is what happened. One day at work, I took 30 minutes to get my life together. I had a complete breakdown at work because my coworkers were talking about a child who was in the system, and it's a little boy in the system, got back with his parents, and the parents killed him. And so, y'all, it took me out. Like I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I was okay. I wasn't okay. And I took 30 minutes to get myself back together. 30 minutes. And in those 30 minutes, I had my phone with me. And I started typing out what I was feeling at the moment. Like the note section app on my phone. And I started typing out what I was feeling at the moment and what was happening. Could I have called my therapist? Most definitely. But I knew I was having therapy soon. I said, I could work through this. I'm going to be okay. And I started typing out my feelings, typing out what was happening, what was going through my mind. And I took some deep breaths. And I got myself back together. And I was okay. I was okay, but not okay. I came back and I just started my work again. And that was it. I was able to go to therapy. I think therapy was the following week, and I was able to discuss what happened and what was going on. Those are just those moments that, doctors really don't discuss with you what happens to you. A lot of times too, I have a male doctor, so maybe he doesn't know. Maybe patients don't come back and tell him what's happening, or maybe, they go on hormone therapy and they're okay. But I think it's beyond hormone therapy as well. I think that it's, as a woman, the expectations, that you had for yourself as a child or young adult growing up, to start a family and stuff. You have those expectations. And so because you have those expectations and they don't happen the way you maybe you think or want them to happen, it's difficult to deal with sometimes. So you may talk yourself through. Seeing a therapist is awesome, but there are times where it's okay to have a moment. There are times where in life, when you have those moments, just don't let them keep you down. Don't let them keep you down. And that's the most important thing. That's what therapy has taught me, and what my therapist said. Just don't let them keep you down. You're gonna have them. You're gonna have a breakdown. You're gonna have this, But it's still okay. It's okay if you don't go to the baby shower. If nobody understands, oh well. You have to protect you. Because if not, then you're going to go in there and you're going to have a breakdown in the middle of somebody's beautiful day. They're celebrating them, but people have to stop to help you. You're not trying to do that, right? You're not trying to deflect or distract from others. You're genuinely happy. And that's the thing where in your heart you have to work through. And so that's why I say getting a therapist is very important, because you want to work through those heart issues. Because if it's not pure to another person, then I really suggest you talk. You have to get that, work through those heart issues. I've never had the issue since it happened that I was angry towards another human being or wanted anything bad to happen. Never in my heart. It never will be on my heart. my heart was just broken. That I couldn't have that for myself. That was where I was at. Not anything ill will for anybody else, but mostly for myself. It was just the heartbroken for myself. I think I talked enough about it. But just have safe boundaries for yourself. Talk to someone, talk to a therapist about it. If you have a best friend or friends that are in your circle that can help you through and help them understand. I recently had a conversation with my cousins actually during Thanksgiving, and it was the first time that I voiced my opinion or voiced my feelings about baby showers and things like that. And I said to them, I said, y'all know I love y'all. You know, I know I love you. And sometimes you have to share that with family if you can. I love you. But at this time in my life, or this time, until I heal, I'm able to heal. Please do not be offended if I cannot attend, if you get pregnant and I cannot attend your baby shower. Please do not get offended. Do not get offended if your child turned 1, 2 years old, 3 years old, and I cannot attend their birthday party. Don't get offended. Don't get offended if right now I can't see their pictures. Please don't get offended. It literally is not you or your child. It is literally my heart breaking. And it's something that I need to work through. And so I know it, and I am doing it. I'm working through it. And so I know at this moment in time that I've been thinking about for a few months now about adoption and everything, but I have a lot of things to get in place. You know, I want to get a home and get me together, also emotionally and things like that. And so once I get all that done, then I will be well on the road to adoption. So it's important for us to get ourselves together. It really is. I think a lot of times women, we put ourselves in the position of, oh, you have to be strong. And that word strong is so misconstrued because strong is not hiding. It's not covering up. Strong is not allowing yourself to acknowledge what you are feeling. Strong is saying, I'm weak, I'm hurt, I'm broken, I need help, and talking through it. That's what strong is. Because when you hide and you suppress, you'll become uncontrollable. You won't be able to live. You'll be broken your whole life. That's not what God wants for your life, and that's not what you should want for your life either, to be broken. That's not what your soon to be, whether it's an adopted child, a child that you have through IVF when it happens, your child through surrogacy when it happens. You know, for those of us in surgical menopause who may not have those options, our miracle children, our children who will be born just for us via somebody else, you know. they need their mommy to be okay. They need us to tell them, teach them what strength is, what strong is, what it looks like. And yeah. Don't hide. Don't bury yourself. Bury your emotions. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to take off work, take off work. But get a therapist. If you have to. You have to. You need support. You need support. You have to talk to friends or family. You need support. There's no way I could make it to the point of where I am today to sit and do a video, to start a whole brand or support group, Millennial and Menopause, without support myself, having that support of the therapist, of friends, a family. I would have never been able to do this. 4 years ago, my mind wasn't here. It would have never. And so today, here I am. I have this, and then, yeah, get support. I ain't finna, I'm like crying and stuff. But get the support that you need. I hope that this video was able to help. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that I pray for you to be surrounded by people who love you, so people who understand you, people who will not get offended by the boundaries that you set for them. I pray that you find an awesome therapist that will help you work through your challenges and to help you gain coping mechanisms and skills. Follow me on Instagram, Millennial and Menopause, and I hope that I could be an additional support system to you as you can be a support system to me as well. God bless everyone. I'm praying for you. Continue to keep me in your prayers as well.